Intacct is a pure software as a service provider of financial ERP applications for business. We're headquartered in San Jose, California. We've been in business for 12 years, and we serve with have over 5,000 clients running our applications right now, fastest growing cloud ERP provider in the industry. We have one thing that no other software developer in the country can say, is we have an exclusive relationship. We're the only accounting software endorsed by the American Institute of CPAs. We have an exclusive relationship with them. And it's very interesting that the AICPA, an organization that Gary said that I've worked with for a number of years, is actually leading the migration, encouraging businesses to go to the cloud. And we'll talk a lot more about that today. But I want to begin, I'm going to go through in about 15 minutes about 3 points that I think it's to try to convey here today. One is that the cloud, pure software as a service applications are more usable for everybody. The other thing that I will talk about is that they make much better economic sense if you look at all the issues associated with implementation. And the third thing that is very important for a number of us in the room is that they actually mitigate your risk. So reusability, economics, and risk here in about 15 minutes. But the first part of the cloud phenomena is that this is not driven by business. The cloud has been embraced by consumers. I mean, think about this. Where do we look for anything right now? Most people search engine Google. Amazon.com, they have a great showroom right around the corner down the block from us here in Houston called Best Buy. We can go in and look for stuff at Best Buy, and then they go buy it on Amazon. How many people shop on Amazon, have PayPal accounts, do all these things, you know? Who doesn't have a smartphone in here today? Okay. Consumers, this is how we expect to do it. I want to be able to walk over to that machine right there, check my email. I can do that. I want to be able to go buy anything, download a book, do whatever I want to do. So consumers are driving this phenomenon. I was talking to Fausto and Glenn. How many of you all pay your bills online? Yeah. But, I mean, I've had 3 identity thefts, so I know the problem of writing checks. I write one to my church and one to my son's baseball coach, and that's about it. Because of security in my case, but then the overwhelming convenience, I travel quite a bit, and that plays into it well. I can pay bills, do whatever I need to do, anywhere, anytime. Bank of America, thanks, there's your plug. But here's the other thing about this phenomenon. I have a little girl who's now in 9th grade, freshman in high school. A couple of years ago, when I just gone to work for Intacct, I walked she was in the upstairs room on the computer, and she and her classmates were using Google Docs to collaborate on their Latin project. My first question is, okay, explain how this works, honey. Show this to Dad. But it was amazing. The only time my daughter has ever seen software installed is when I had to install the Microsoft Office product on her MacBook Pro because she needed to use Word for school. The generation of people that are coming into the workforce today are not used to installing software. They're not used to file servers. They're not used to having this in-house. They're used to this. And because it's easier, because that's what they've grown up with. And now we see this in business. Somebody mentioned Salesforce.com earlier. $2 billion company right now devoted exclusively to customer relationship management, sales automation, CRM. And there are many other business applications exclusively in the cloud. And some pivotal things. The great part about this is, historically, when I first got into this business, everybody bought accounting software, and they did everything in the accounting software world because that was the first thing that you wanted to automate using a computer to get away from the 13-column pad and the green bar and everything that my dad actually grew up with. But now it's manifested businesses where each part of your business can get the right solution for them. At Intacct, we're a relatively light firm. We have one person in our IT department. He's not even full-time. We use 18 cloud-based applications. And we have the ability to integrate and to work together collaboratively on that. So I think it's pretty important here that when you consider the benefits of the cloud for a CEO that's traveling and wants to check in on his business. People like me that are on the road all the time in sales-related positions. My wife is an attorney. She does contract work for a number of firms. She does not go into the office. But the fact that she can access Westlaw and do everything at home, I mean, I'll wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and there she is banging away on her keyboard. She happens to be a night owl and work like that. And it doesn't matter. There are a lot of people that have quality of life decisions where you can work at home, you can travel, you can do things, you can go to your kids' baseball games, you can check this. The cloud makes this all possible. So these business applications that are very sophisticated, deeper than many of the on-premise products, are driving the way people do business, and Intacct is certainly at the forefront of that. Now, it's very hard to define cloud computing and because it's a popular term, and there are a lot of people that are trying to take advantage of its popularity and rebrand themselves. Cloud computing can be everything from services to infrastructure being in a hosted environment, so you have your file server hosted by somebody and you access it through a virtual private network, Citrix or terminal service. Or you can move into a model like what we have at Intacct, which is a purely browser-based solution. You go to a website, you log in, that's it. We only develop for the Internet Explorer, Mozilla environments. You can run it on Google Chrome, but those are the two. The Firefox environments are the two we support. So we don't have to worry about coding for a SQL database. We don't have to worry about what version of Windows you're on. We don't have to worry about anything but what we're coding, which means we have a very, very rapid development environment. So I want to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, the two things that people were against software as a service early on were around security and around integration. Roughly 50% of the transactions posted in Intacct every day come from another line of business or outside integration coming into the product. Using our application program interfaces, our APIs, we do 10 million calls a month through the API at a minimum. So the integration here is superlative, and we guarantee that once that integration is built, those integrations will not break when we do one of our 4 new releases every year. So roughly 50% of our transactions move through that way. The other thing that's important with our software as a service delivery model is part of our services level agreements. You can go straight to our website and you can see on our website that we have 99.997% uptime. So we're up that much every day. We measure, we report, we track on that. We also track on the response rate at 5 locations throughout the country. And then when you look at the guarantees, we do 4 new releases a year. We guarantee that any customizations, any integrations, any reports that you have in your system will not break with those new releases. You can understand why people are so intrigued by what we do with the cloud. We put everything in writing with a service level agreement between you and us, between our customers and Marcus's customers and yourselves, which guarantees what our response time is going to be, guarantees how we're going to address an error message that you may have. So all these concerns, all the risks move from you to us. And so let's talk a little bit about the total cost of ownership and the ROI. And the best way that I learned doing this is when I first went to work at Intacct, my boss and I sat down and he said, "Hey, Peyton, let's spend 20 minutes talking about all the costs associated with owning a car." And, you know, you go through all this and you get the insurance, the registration, the maintenance, all those things. We were still going for 20 minutes as we dug deeper. And the way that we want businesses to look at their investment in their accounting, their ERP application, is begin by looking at all the costs associated with it. And when you look at that, it gets pretty staggering. Not only is there human intervention for IT time, bug fixes, patches, security, backup and restore, performance tuning, customizations, disaster recovery planning, You can go on and on. Look, I can talk about this for probably an hour and a half of all the costs associated with what they mean. So you've got to broaden your perspective and say, I'm not just looking at what I'm paying for an accounting application, but what am I paying through the software as a service? What does that service part get me? And every time that I've gone through a total cost of ownership perspective with a cloud-based application like Intacct, we have beaten hosted applications and on-premise applications when you look at like 5 to 6 year horizon. And the main part of this is that 68% of our cost is right there in the subscription fee. And we have a one-time cost basically on the implementation. In the on-premise and the hosted world, all of these costs continue to accumulate over time. And you keep paying and paying for it. So part of the process here is realizing that we have to be economically more viable for your business because we have to earn your business every year. So we will go through, Marcus and some team can go through all of this for your business, but when you think about being here in Houston, Texas, and what happened to Houston and the surrounding area when Hurricane Ike hit, people had their infrastructure here, file servers and things like that here. Their business was at risk. They were down. In a pure cloud-based software as a service model of ours, there's a lot of disaster and a lot of things. I don't want to minimize that. But if you got in your car and you drove to Dallas or to San Antonio, you were up and running. You could go to a library, log onto a computer, and see what your OpenAR is, what bills you had to pay, and you could operate. So it's much, much safer. It eliminates a lot of the going concern questions as well. And part of the model here, and this probably expresses it around the risk environment and the financial aspect of it pretty well as well. When you have an on-premise model, you pay for your licenses up front. You also pay an annual fee to get the bug fixes and everything, and you bear all the risk. If your server crashes, if your backup doesn't work and you need to restore, if you need to install a new release and upgrade, you have to redo your customization. All the risk associated with an on-premise solution is borne by the people that own the premises that are hosting, running it. Characteristic in the on-premise world is you get a new release every 18 to 24 months because they have to worry about the operating system, the database, the desktop environment, and the coding is so slow in that environment that they can't deliver new releases and new functionality on any more aggressive time frame than the 18 to 24 month horizon. We see that with products from Sage, products from Microsoft, and you can go look at that. I mean, it's public information. I'm not saying anything out of line there. But the real thing gets down here, I think, to the attitude. Once it's sold, the software developer that sold that product has gotten all the money that they're ever going to get from it. They like that 18%, but it's really ship it and forget it. And in the cloud model, and what we have with Intacct, what Marcus and his team deliver for our customers, you renew it every year. You pay for what you use. Your maintenance is included. If there is a hardware issue, if there is a connectivity issue, if there's any issue, it's our problem. Okay? When a customer has a problem with Intacct, everybody is all hands on deck. Our COO, our CTO, whoever can work on the problem, customer has an issue, because we have to earn your business every year. We use the same technology that they do at Facebook. We develop in PHP. So we can do quarterly releases, quarterly innovation. Last year in the Intacct product line, we added 300,000 lines of code to the base product. Our customers go and vote on the enhancements that they would like to see in the software. We are very aggressively developing and changing the solution. So there's continual value in the product because we have to, again, earn your business every year. If something happens, we handle it. The risk is on us, and we're held accountable. That's a big shift. So as we talk about this economically, user-wise, and mitigating your risk, they all stack up to make this option extremely viable for businesses. And we certainly, I don't want to ignore again that the AI-CPA relationship that we have here. Let's talk about the other question that comes up. Address the integration with security. Okay? Gartner Group, I know most of you all have heard of Gartner Group. They study things, technology, and other businesses. They have a thing in the technology world called their Magic Quadrant. Intacct is hosted in a top-tier data center that sits smack dab at the top of Gartner's Magic Quadrant. Other people in that data center include, I've got to look this up and make sure that I have this right here, so indulge me just for a second. We're in with LinkedIn, Facebook, eBay, GE, Coca-Cola. Our clients, you're one of Marcus's clients, you're on the same environment that eBay is. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you, I know you look very successful, and I'm sure you are, but very few of us can afford that level of infrastructure in our business. But through the model that we have at Intacct, it makes it viable for our customers to have the #1 top-tier data center delivering it. Absolutely, we handle all the encryption, backup. We have redundant backup across the country. We guarantee in the event of anything happens, the maximum amount of downtime, data loss would be 20 minutes for our business. We put that, any business, we put that in writing. Most people, when they look at software, they look at things from a perspective. It used to be, we want to make sure that somebody's SAS-70 audited. That was the checkbox on any request for proposal and everything. Well, through my work at the AI-CPA, I happen to know that SAS-70 was never really intended to be the audit rule for software as a service companies. And again, as the AI-CPA is leading the standard here, they've come up with a whole new series of statements, and it's called the Statement for Standards on Attestation Engagements, SSAE, and it's the 16th of these statements. That's what we're adhering to now. This is the AI-CPA again going through, and I have the letter here. They look at control objectives like management and organization, physical access, environmental security, data backup and restore, system availability, service level agreements, logical access security, change management. All of these things are now tested here. And again, the AI-CPA can't afford to be associated with any organization that is not very secure. That's what their job is. And very financially viable. So as we look at the infrastructure that we deliver, the security that we have, in most cases it's a lot more secure. I mean, I go through this and everybody tells me, well, we're at this data center, we have all these things. You know, very, very nice, very, very good. But the trump card usually comes down for me is, we've got guys with machine guns guarding our data center, if you can even find them. So, I mean, this is kind of the level, and you've got to with the clients that are also in there. That's what they would expect. That's what they have to expect. You know, we've had somebody had a slide with the guys in machine guns one time. We kind of took that down. Well, we want to be sensitive, I guess, politically corrective. But we are able to deliver this to our customers because of the shared cost and the way that we operate. So hopefully I've given you a kind of an overview here. I know you may have some questions and things to go over, and presented it in the context of your businesses are using cloud-based apps because that's what people are used to using at home. That's what they're comfortable with. The cost is absolutely, if you look at all the costs associated, much more cost-effective in a much easier way. Somebody in here I heard talk about has a document management solution. For us to integrate with that, it's not an issue. I mean, we're doing 2 right now, document management solutions that are looking to integrate with an ERP application. And once it's done, all the business processes that we have coupled with what you bring to the table, anybody that wants it can have it. Developed on our platform, but it's never going to break. You continue to improve your product, we continue to improve ours, that integration doesn't go away. Economically, and lastly, the risk. #1 rated data center, maximum security, AI-CPA endorsement, written service level agreements. The risk shifts from the consumer to us in this process. which is why people are buying cloud-based financial applications, and the on-premise model is still the